Let me just say that the majority of the thoughts that we think every single day are the same thoughts as we thought yesterday. And in fact, 90% of them are. And the same thoughts leading to the same choices leading to the same behaviors creating the same experiences, and the same experiences producing the same feelings and emotions begins to cause our biology to become very similar, very same. And the repetition of that and firing and wiring then creates automatic programs in the brain and body. And 95% of who we are is a state of unconscious or subconscious programs where we've done something so many times that the body now can actually do it automatically without the conscious mind.
It's a state of unconscious creation. It's our beliefs that are just persistent, lingering at the back of our mind, creating our current reality.
Exactly. So then if you truly wanted to change and you understood that your personality creates your personal reality, and your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. And the present personality who's listening to this call has created the present personal reality called their life. That means if they wanted to create a new personal reality, a new life, they would have to begin to change their personality. They'd have to change themselves. And most people then try to create a new personal reality as the same personality. It doesn't work. So then if you're sitting in your meditation and you ask yourself the question, who do I want to be when I open my eyes? What is the greatest expression of myself? And you said, okay, let me remind myself of how I no longer want to think. You know, the thoughts like, whatever, it's too hard, I'll never change, I'll never get what I want. Let me become so conscious of those unconscious thoughts that I wouldn't let that thought slip by my awareness today unnoticed by me and program my autonomic nervous system in a specific outcome. And then if you said, how would I want to speak today? How do I want to act? How do I want to behave? And you reminded yourself how you weren't going to act and how you weren't going to behave. And you became conscious of those unconscious habits to such a degree you wouldn't go unconscious and behave in the same way. That's when you're no longer the program. Now your consciousness observing the program. And if you said, when does my energy drop? When what do I feel when I feel those typical familiar emotions? What are they? So let me name them, just so I'm so aware of them that when my energy drops, I can catch myself in that moment and not return back to the same familiar emotions and cause my body to believe it's back in the past. And we can't see a new future from the past. So that process then is what I call getting beyond the old self. And it's a disentangling from the program. The word meditation means to become familiar with. So as you sit there and become familiar with those states of mind and body, you begin to objectify your subjective self. Now you are becoming so aware of the unconscious programs, you won't go unconscious. And that's the first step to change. And then what if you said, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? What thoughts do I want to put my attention behind? And begin to install the new circuitry, the new hardware. And if I keep my attention on it and I fire and wire those thoughts, it's going to begin to become a software program. And that's going to be the new voice in my head. That's going to be the voice that's telling me, the new program, that you can, that it is possible. And then if you said, how am I going to act in my day with my children today, in relationships with everybody? What does honor look like? What does nobility look like? What does respect look like? What does reverence look like for life? How can I be more compassionate? And you began to think about how you were going to behave in that day. If you did it properly, just like those piano players, just like those muscle exercisers, you would begin to install more neurological hardware in your brain. And if you kept doing it, it would become the software program, and you, as I said, would behave that way. And then bringing on that elevated emotion then, and teaching your body what your future feels like before it's happened, and understanding that the body's so objective that it doesn't know the difference between the real life experience and the experience you create by emotion. That means then, if the environment signals the gene and the end product of the experience in the environment is an emotion, you could signal the gene ahead of the environment if you feel this emotion. And if you understand that, you would assign meaning to it, and you wouldn't get up until you felt it. Now, I would say then, if you kept practicing this, you would begin to neurochemically condition your mind and body into a new state of being. And that would begin to become more familiar to you. And you would begin to think differently, begin to act differently, and you would begin to feel differently. And that's a new personality. And many people who heal in this work, when they get on the stage and they say, we say, well, where did it go? Where did the cancer go? Where did the Parkinson's go? And they say, hey, I think it belongs in the old personality. I'm somebody else. And so there's a change in biology and chemistry as a result of it.
I love this. I love this. So let me try to break it down, okay, for people who are listening. This is what I understood. And tell me if I'm correct. Tell me if you would refine it. So the first thing you said is the act of meditation itself is a form of breaking the pattern, because we're becoming aware of the thoughts which are going through our head. We are able to analyze, to see the thought. There's a concept in meditation I call the two-mind effect. And it's almost as if you split and there's an observer, and then there is the thoughts in your head. And you are no longer the thoughts, you are the observer observing the thoughts. Oh, I'm still angry with so-and-so.
In order for us to do that, we have to just understand a little bit more of the science behind how we interact with our environment. So if you have a perception in your outer environment of some type of danger or threat, that the reaction or the response to that stimulation begins to activate the fight or flight nervous system. You're mobilizing energy to prepare yourself for that danger. And when the body perceives that danger, and it's a big threat, it doesn't hold back on the amount of energy it's deciding to use. It goes all in. So for the short term, that's fine. But if you keep doing it over and over again, you keep knocking your brain and body out of balance. And that's what stress is. And the repetition of that, keep knocking the body out of balance, begins to weaken the organism. So when a person is perceiving a danger threatening their outer world and they're turn on those adrenal hormones, they're putting all their energy for that threat in their outer world. There's no energy in their inner world for repair, for growth. So a person who's constantly feeling fear because they believe something out there is going to get them, then they're more susceptible to things in their outer environment, and their immune system is compromised. So they actually have more of a propensity for infections, for foreign agents or invaders, because now their body is reacting and constantly responding to the outer world. So our research shows that if you trade those emotions of fear, of worry, of anxiety, of any vigilance, and you can open your heart, and I know that that doesn't seem natural or normal during these times, but if not now, when? And if you can begin to feel gratitude and appreciation and settle your body into the present moment, 4 days of feeling an elevated emotion would actually strengthen your immune system by about 50%. We've done the research to show that once energy makes it into your heart, the body begins to, it's so objective that it doesn't know the difference between the emotion you're feeling by thought alone and some emotion you would feel from some reaction in your environment. Your body in that state is beginning to believe it's safe enough to relax into the present moment. And so when that occurs, the immune system begins to upregulate, and it begins to make these antibodies. And those antibodies are the body's natural defense against bacteria and viruses. They're the shields that protect the body from foreign invaders. And 4 days of doing that, imagine if you practice doing that every single day. I think by working with your body and elevating your emotional state, you could literally become more resistant or more in a state of order, independent of your outer environment.